Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining Evolving Always Productions. We are about helping people to evolve mentally, physically, spiritually, and of course, financially. And I have some wonderful guests on that can kind of help us with a lot of those that I just mentioned. They're a power couple. They're just phenomenal serial entrepreneurs. They very inspiring. They're so intelligent. They've got so much going on. And I am so honored that they are here to talk with us tonight. Keep in mind, I'm definitely glad that you're here on the YouTube, but you can also catch this on a podcast as well. But let me go ahead and tell you about these phenomenal women. They're called the Flippingals, but let me name this Michelle and Marina. Again, their name is Flippingals. And if you're not following them on Instagram, what a huge mistake you're making. So it's very easy to spell. It's just flipping, just one G, ALS. Okay. So definitely make sure that you're following them because they give you just a wealth of information. They also have a YouTube, same name. Again, a wealth of information. I can't say how much you will learn by following this power couple, as I call them. They also have a podcast, so there's no excuse. If you don't have time to look at a video, then you can listen while you're working out. Just no excuses. Make sure that you're following them. Subscribe, rate. Just do it. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to get started. And first of all, I'm going to say hello to a couple people. Hello, Tiana. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Lisette. I appreciate y'all coming out. Hello, Douglas. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, I want to thank y'all for coming out.
Okay. Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Terry, today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so how's everything been going for you for today? Were y'all really busy today? What y'all do?
I took photos all morning and packing all morning, all day, pretty much. I still have 2 big items to pack. So, yeah, we've been busy. This one was sourcing.
And so one of y'all was sourcing and the other was packing and taking pictures. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, a power couple. So basically, let me explain a little bit more about, well, these ladies do so many things, but I'm going to talk a little bit about one thing they're doing and what they're discussing right now. Obviously, they have several e-commerce stores. So they do have the source and they sell and they got to pack. They do all that good stuff. Even though they do have some stores that are direct demand, a lot of stuff, they have these really fab finds that you just can't get anywhere, which they'll tell you a little bit more about that. And they find them, they sell them, and they got to ship them out because they find unique vintage items, antique items, and we'll talk more about that in a second. So that's one of the things that they do. But both of these ladies, they're just so multifaceted. Michelle knows 5 languages. Marina knows 3. They're, so fluent in 3. I mean, what can you say? So if you need somebody to travel with, these might be the women you want to do it with. But anyway, so that's one of the things. Michelle is in a thriving marketing firm, and she loves being there, so she's not trying to go anywhere. And then she uses that skill set for one of her e-commerce, one of the e-commerce stores that they actually have. So that's actually really great that she does that. Marina she's so phenomenal. She's actually helping immigrants that come into this country legally, and she's giving them the tools that they need to actually not only survive, but also to thrive in this country. So they're doing that as well as all the other businesses that they're doing as well. So I'm gonna let them talk more now about their journey. So one of the things I wanted to ask you too is what was the first time y'all realized, hey, I want to get into vintage?
Oh gosh. That's you, 100%. It started with a typewriter, I have to say.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I have a love for just vintage mid-century modern stuff, but I never really bought vintage items. I just love how old looking, cool looking they are. And we went to garage sale. We started our reselling journey. We went to garage sale and I saw this really cool Olympia, that was a brand, typewriter.
Right.
Owned by a lady, I think she's in her 80s or 70s. And she just shared her story about how her grandparents gave her that typewriter to become a secretary, right? That in many, many years ago. And she was selling the typewriter for $50. So I just absolutely love how it's designed. It's so intricate. And we bought it and we sold it on eBay, I think like a week later for over $100.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's crazy.
that's how it got started.
Yeah, and I remember that typewriter as well because Michelle was really excited. Michelle doesn't get so excited about, I mean, she does get excited about the products, but her fascination is like with the story of where the product came from. That's that's what I always hear about when she sources something. She always has a story that goes with it. And that was actually pretty fascinating. So that one typewriter was owned by one person. It was in excellent condition, very well taken care of. And then it was purchased by someone else who hopefully has the same affinity for like such things, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we source items that we want to keep. Like we would love to have them in our home. But at some point we have to decide like, okay, we can't keep everything in our home, right? Because like it just wouldn't look nice to have like, a store as a home, right? So, it's hard to get to sell them, but we feel extremely attached to the items we buy just because of their stories and even just like their history and just touching the old items in your hands. So I learned about mid-century modern from Michelle. So yeah, Michelle's in like marketing and branding, and she has a really good eye for design. And I didn't know anything about that before I met Michelle. I mean, I know what looked nice and what I liked, but mid-century modern is awesome. And thanks to Michelle, now I'm all bought in. I love it as well. Like, yeah, at first I was like, but now I love it as well, 100%. And these vintage items can go very well with that kind of design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thanks to the TV show Mad Men too. I don't know if you guys watch that show, but I absolutely loved everything from the 60s and 70s.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I love the Mad Men. I love that show, and I have a thing for typewriters. So when you're telling me about that, I absolutely love old typewriters, and plus I did have to take typing, which I probably did not have to do in high school. So yeah, I definitely am all into that. Someone's asking, how much did you purchase? If you don't mind asking, sharing. If you don't, I totally understand. But how much did you purchase the typewriter for?
It was $50. It was actually we had no idea how much it was. So it was $50. We doubled. And I think from there we started going to estate sales, and I was just mind blown. Like going to estate sales, it's like everything vintage. So that's really how it started.
And going to estate sales is so smart, and because I can see you just finding all of these phenomenal gems. But and I look at inventory like I do stock. So if you doubled your money, hey, win.
Yes, yes.
That is a win. So I love that. I love that. What was I gonna say? Hold on, I was trying to just gonna put Christy up there. But basically, and this happened more recently about the newspaper with Hank Aaron up there, which that was pretty phenomenal too. And that's just because y'all made a relationship with somebody, I guess, that sells newspapers. Can you share that really quick?
Yeah, actually, we have a story about it. It was the first year I think we were reselling. Yeah, first or second, I don't remember, but it was a rainy day, right? And it doesn't rain much in Southern California. So on this rainy day, she had hired someone to bring a camera and record the journey, the day. So it was the first day on the job, and this young man was recording us going around, going to estate sales, garage sales, and buying things, right? I'm just talking about it. And so there was one estate sale that we went to. It was the last day. So last day means like everything's drastically reduced at like 50% the original price, right? So we go into this house and it's raining. There's like not really anyone in there. We walk in, it's kind of messy. It's like, everything's picked out. There's really nothing left. It looks almost like there's just a bunch of trash and junk. Yeah. And Michelle walked in quickly and she's like, there's nothing here. Let's go. I'm like the detail oriented one. So I take my time. I walk through and then I I just take more time. And I ran across these 3 boxes of old newspapers in a bunch of mess and trash or whatever you would call it. And I was surprised I opened the box and I found stacks of organized newspapers and like a title page where somebody carefully wrote the titles of the papers, the years of the papers. And I started reading the headlines and I was like, man walking on the moon, what? And then
Ronald Reagan got shot, and John F. Kennedy got shot.
Wow.
Trial. And when I saw that, I was like, this is gold. And I don't know anything about
that's insane, and I love it. So hoarders, we gotta love them, right?
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's how the newspaper got started. In my head, I'm like, who's gonna keep these newspapers? The house is empty. No one picked on them. No one touched those boxes.
Right.
But this person who has an appreciation for history and stationaries, she's like, no, let's just get them. Let's just try. So we ended up, we went to negotiate. We talked to the guy, and he was like, oh, it's $15 each box.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I don't think it's worth it.
Well, Michelle said no. Of course, I wanted it anyway. I don't care if I sold it or not. I wanted the newspapers. Michelle, but I always ask, every single time, whatever decision we make, I ask Michelle for her opinion. And I said, Michelle, what do you think? She said no. And right in front of the guy that was selling it too. So the guy's like, I'll give you all the boxes for $15. And then I look at Michelle, what do you think? She's like, okay. So we took it home and we just landed on a gold mine, to be honest.
Yeah. So the first paper from that box was The Man Walking on the Moon. I think that's the one we sold for, how much was it? Like,
I know we had 3 of those and we sold them all for over $100. So
oh my God.
We made our money back.
And you only paid, I think you said you only paid $15 for the box, right? Of the stuff, of the items. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So y'all know that's just phenomenal. So one thing, and that's one reason why I really love going to Michelle and Marina's Instagram page, because they have such an eye for things that I wouldn't even have phantom. And I mean, look at that. And they just spent $15 for that, and look, and already it made a couple of $100 from just those few things. They probably made more than that, but just what we were discussing right then. So that's just phenomenal. You can't beat that. Let me ask y'all this. So how long have y'all been on Etsy? I'm asking that question for a reason.
So we've been on Etsy for over a year only, actually.
We've been on Etsy a little bit after we started reselling. We hired a virtual assistant, and she said, hey, I have experience with Etsy. Why aren't you guys selling on Etsy? And then we said, we don't really know much about Etsy. So she said, do you mind if I start publishing your items on Etsy? And we're like, sure. I mean, it's not going to hurt us, right, for that to happen. And so she did that, and we really didn't get much movement in the store. But the year after that, I think we saw a couple sales. So we said, you know what, let's look into this and learn more about this platform. We did that. And then we started selling things on Etsy. First of all, we didn't even know, like, okay, you should only be selling vintage items on there. So once we took out some of because we were doing everything on there, we didn't know.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah. So we had to take stuff out and then exchange it for vintage items, and then the store started doing really well after that. So that was year 2 that we were selling there. But it was year 2 that we were selling there, but it was really year 1 where we learned stuff and applied it, and then we saw results. So we are now in year 3 of selling on Etsy. Entering year 3.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all made close to $30,000 last year, right? I'm talking on Etsy, just Etsy alone, because I want everybody to, the audience and everybody that's listening to this, to realize these women are multifaceted. They're a power couple. They do many things. So even though 30,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about one stream of income, because they've got several they made from this, and they just really started Etsy. So we're talking a little bit over a year. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because, and the other reason I was telling you to follow these phenomenal women is they decided to come up with a webinar for Etsy. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it was so informative because I had the opportunity to take it. It's like a 3-part series. You can break it up, but I recommend just getting whatever you want to call it, the combo, the 3-part series. I recommend you going ahead and doing that. It's set up, and that works out good too. So if you don't have time to watch all 3 of them, you can kind of break it up, and that actually helps you out and kind of build up. But it's so informative, just gives you all the information that you need to be successful on this platform, on the Etsy platform. So I highly recommend that you get this if you're not on Etsy, because I realize now a lot of people aren't. So if you're not utilizing that platform, you really need to be. So when you go on their Instagram account and go on there, I think y'all use do y'all use Linktree or Milkshake? I'm trying to remember which one y'all use.
We use
Linktree. No, we use Campsite.
No, Campsite. I always get good.
My fault. So you'll go to their bio that is called Campsite. When you click on it, it'll actually have it up there for you. I highly recommend that be something that you do, because I'm telling you, you're really not, coming to your full potential if you're not utilizing that app. And I will give you an example of what happened to me. Of course, have been on Poshmark for a while. I've been on other platforms as well. I'm on other platforms as well. So I had these vintage Westie loafers, and I had these on Poshmark since really I started selling on Poshmark. So really, I was consistently selling on Poshmark for, we'll say, 5 years. I had these up here. I saw them. I knew they were great. I said, oh, they're going to buy these. I paid $5 for them, which is, more than you want to pay, obviously, for a lot of times for used items. But these I knew would do well, which is why I got them. But they just sat. They sat. I would relist them. They just sat. So no joke, probably I want to say in November, I put those in my Etsy store. There was the only item there, the only item in the Etsy store that I put up there, and they sold in 2 days. And I had no ratings or anything. So it was really kind of funny because I know this person took a chance getting this item from me, but they sold in 2 days. So I highly recommend that you put this in one of your platforms. If you are a reseller, I highly recommend you put Etsy in there. And if you don't understand it, which I can understand, because Etsy is a different platform from all the others. It really is. And if you're going in without understanding that, then you can lose some money just the same. Does that make sense? Thank you so much, Quimby, and thank you so much for joining. So it's real important that I highly recommend you take their webinars. You won't be sorry. You'll just be very happy, and you'll start making money in this platform as well. So and it's good to definitely as I'm in stocks, and I believe in diversifying. Same thing when you're selling, having multiple platforms. So an Etsy needs to be one of them. So that's why I brought that up. Now, I know obviously you sell on eBay. Well, you sell on a lot of platforms. We could go on and on all day long on how many platforms that y'all sell on. Y'all sell on so many. But what would you say what is your favorite platform? I'll go ahead and ask that.
Etsy, hands down, it's at this point in time. Yeah. But I did want to mention Etsy being discovered, and with everything going on, it's just a great platform. If you're not on it, please check it out. If you're interested in locating those webinars, I think Terry, don't you also have a link on your link tree?
I actually have a link also. So if you forget, because remember I got it scrolling on my screen, follow the Flippingals, definitely come to my site. And it's right up there. It's easy. It's in my link tree, but I highly recommend it. I really do, because like I said, it was kind of mind blowing, a lot of what you don't know. You assume you know, but you didn't really know. And it is a definite different platform from what I've been selling on. So it's really key.
Yeah. And Terry, what we want to do is we really want to simplify all the information out there for people. So, I have marketing background. I put a lot of presentations together all day. at my job, she is a teacher. She's great at like putting information together in a very structured manner. So we really use our skills to make those presentations, and hopefully, you know, it's easier to digest for people.
Yeah, I'm glad you're explaining that, Michelle, because that's how we work when we put together the webinars. Michelle, she does a really good job with the research and like making it look gorgeous, right? I come in and then we go through every slide together. And because I do have experience as a teacher, like I do curriculum planning at school. Like I've been trained to do that, and I just do that every single day in my job. And so I can go in there, look at the slides and figure out, well, how's this going to be received? And more often than not, I mean, there's just a lot of things that need to be explained, and that's just what I do. And Terry, we haven't really had a chance to talk much about it, but you've seen the webinar, so hopefully you saw what I'm describing. Hopefully the information was easy to take in and digest.
Very.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and tell it like it is. I actually took, well, the first one I took, I was actually at the house, but the last two I did while I was working out, and it got me really into my workout. I was on the elliptical, and I was like, oh, and I was like, wow, you know, and so it was just, yeah, I loved it. So it's not gonna be boring. It's very informative, and you'll have like a lot of aha moments, like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, like I said, I highly recommend that you do this and consider it, because you're not meeting your full financial potential if you're not utilizing that app. And of course, to utilize it effectively, you need to know how it works.
That's right.
One more thing about Etsy, and we don't work for Etsy, but we absolutely love the platform. They actually had purchased a company, an SEO marketing company. So they have the expertise on how to get your listings out there. They have this thing called offsite ads, which means that you Google search, if you go on Yahoo, whatever, they know the algorithm to get your listing out there for some reason. And we've been getting a lot of sales from those ads, and they're effective. And that's why we love Etsy.
We do. Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
And I totally love that, because like you were like, what are you talking about with the advertising? There's one form of advertising that they have, obviously, that you don't pay any upfront money. You only pay once you sell it, you know. And now, once I was taking this course, it really hit me why every time I'm searching for something, Etsy always shows up first, because they do. I joke with you not. It's like if I'll put something in I'm looking for, it's like Etsy most of the time is the first one that shows up. And I understand now why that happens, because they are really on it. Etsy is really, really on it. They're also doing really well in the stock market as well. So
that's true. That's true. Can I say one last thing about Etsy, if that's okay, before we move on, Terry?
As you want. I appreciate y'all coming on. Go ahead.
Today's the last day of the month, and okay, the day's not over yet, but we're actually at about 9,500 in revenue on Etsy just for this month of January, which we could, if we put in more time, we would get more. So it is definitely one of those things where you have to put in the time, not too much time. You could literally do like, I don't know, an hour a day or less, you know, but sometimes we don't do that. We don't put in any at all. And so our revenue could even be higher. But with our busy schedule and all the things that we do, we do have like a podcast that we, hold twice a week. And then we have our day jobs. And then, like you mentioned, we have Etsy. And then we also have other like places where we sell.
Yeah, y'all have quite a few platforms that y'all sell on.
Yeah. To add on to our monthly revenue. But, just saying that to share with everyone, 2 years ago, we had made zero on Etsy. We were on Etsy, we made zero. 2 years later, we're here with, 9,500 in revenue. And if we were to save a little more time, we want to open another store, a third store, because as we mentioned, we feel like we figured it out for ourselves on how to make the revenue on there. And we've shared it with you guys through the webinars. So everything that we know and do to this day is in the webinars. So that's the last thing I wanted to mention about that, just to give others maybe some hope that they can do it too.
You're giving people a lot of hope, because like I said, they've basically been on it for 2 years. First year they're on it really because they didn't really understand it. So it wasn't really productive. Keep in mind, last year, like I said, they made 30,000, and we remember all the other things that they're doing. So that was just a piece of the pie that they got. Now she just shared with you for January. We're talking January alone, they're close to 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So because they're becoming more and more adept at understanding it, and they're doing different stores, because obviously you can't open more than one store in Etsy, then I mean they're going hard, but they're still doing all their other stuff at the same time. So it's just phenomenal. Etsy right now, the stock is at $199, so it's pretty much almost at $2 a share. So Etsy is doing really well. So I know we've talked a lot about Etsy, but I just had to bring that out because these ladies can really help you financially. They understand it, they get it. So definitely check the material out. So we talked about that. So Michelle,
Yeah,
you've been in marketing for like a long time, right? Like 11, I think 10 or 11 years.
longer, probably like 18 years now.
Oh, 18 years. Oh my goodness. And at the same company or a different one?
Oh, different. Yes.
Okay. Well, I know you obviously have a lot of skills on that because you create a lot of things. So that's just awesome there. And the thing that I really loved, I heard you talking about this the other day, is that you love it. And so it's really key to love what you do. So that's the other reason why I really love this couple, because they're doing what they love. They're not letting fear stand in their way. They're getting things done. They're figuring it out. You know, they have fears just like everybody else, but they keep on going. They figure out different ways to get things done. But she's doing what she loves. And I know, Marina, you're definitely doing what you love because you're helping others, correct?
100%. I don't think I could ever do a job where I didn't feel it was something meaningful that was helping, other people. So helping other people makes me extremely happy. I don't know why, it just does.
And I could tell that. I could tell that about both of y'all. Actually, it really comes off that way. Y'all are.
Thanks.
This couple is continuously helping people in the community. I can't say so much. They're always trying to help people. So I can't stress enough. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all answer that question there from the Grateful Queen, and I want to let y'all know something about her. This is another phenomenal woman. She's probably as busy as you guys are. She's a therapist. She has 2 YouTube channels, the Grateful Therapist and the Grateful Queen. I highly recommend people that are listening definitely check out her YouTube channel. She's phenomenal. But this is a question she had for y'all. What did y'all want to tell her?
All right. So she's asking, how many hours do Michelle and Marina put in for reselling? I'm also a part-timer and only get like 15 hours a week or so. So
Last year, I would say, I'm just going to speak on my part. I put a lot. I was literally any hour, any minute I have, aside from my full job, we basically put into reselling. But this year, I think we're trying to take a little bit more time to do some self-care. So what I've done is really put in a very strict schedule. Every morning, I would wake up, and mornings for me would be photo time. I would take photos in the morning. And then we would get into our daily routine, work, go to work. And then evening time would be listing time. So I put in about 4 to 5 hours a day on a weekday. And then on weekends, probably about, 6 hours. So 12 hours. So 12 plus 5 times 5, 25. So quite a bit, actually. Not that we're calculating. We never thought of that.
Yeah, I figured y'all were, because I've seen your packing things going on. And because, and Quimby is actually a really great question to ask them. They have to spend a little bit more time probably than some people, because of some of the items that they sell. They have to package in unique ways. So like, as opposed to apparel, shoes and things like that, which are very easy to pack. They have very, sometimes they have antique items they have to pack, ton of vintage items. And there's a different way you have to go about processing this to make sure that it gets to the customer with no issues. And I know y'all got multiple stores. Is there one store that you can give the name to for Mrs. Janice Marie? And thanks for joining, Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Yeah, we're happy to give your community the name here of our stores. One is just Flippingals, like our name, and And we do have another store that we don't really share it with our in our community, because we're resellers, and everyone who's in our community, they're also resellers, which is fine because we're here to teach.
You don't really have to share that. So
okay.
I prefer, so let's go to the
Okay.
Flippingals. Obviously go there because you'll see some of the items that I was just discussing that they have that are very unique. Vintage finds, antique finds, really nice stuff. So definitely check that site out. But they are right. And the reason why, didn't mean to be rude to them and cut them off, but I do understand what they're saying, because they have issues with a site that they have of people stealing their designs. Because Michelle, she's in marketing, so she creates a lot of unique designs. And then they have to spend some time, unfortunately, because people take their designs and try to pass them off as their own. So it's been really kind of touchy. And as they are already spread out on time, it's best for it to kind of, like, if they can, find ways to possibly not run into that. So I'll just say it that way.
That's true. Thank you, Terry. Yeah, I mean, it's a print on demand store. So if you do anything artistic, those are just things that you normally have to watch out for, whether you're writing a book or you're a creative, like creating anything. And so those are some of the things that you would run into, what Terry mentioned. It's just part of it, though. So thanks, Terry, for saying that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but they do have quite a few stores. And if you're a creative person, you're just going to love Etsy. And I know quite a few of these wonderful people in the audience are. So definitely take advantage of that, because it's open to everybody. And like I said, you'll learn a lot from taking their Etsy course. But if you're creative, go out there, do the direct ship. Just make sure you're doing your own design.
Right.
Anybody else. There's room for everybody to succeed. But when it comes to creative projects, the room is, to me, just really vast, because everybody has different mindsets, as long as they remember that and don't try to copy others, obviously.
Yeah.
So I know y'all do Poshmark. I think y'all did Poshmark. Y'all, unlike other people, y'all did Poshmark later. Is that correct, or am I incorrect about that?
Yeah,
true. We did Poshmark later. Actually, Marina was the one who pushed me to do Poshmark, because I'm like, I don't get this app. It's like, why do you have to share your closet? That's so stupid. I'm like, I don't have time for that. So, but then, you know what? I think Leslie introduced us to Poshmark, right?
Well, no. Leslie did not introduce us to Poshmark. My cousin introduced us like a couple years before. She told us she's a younger person, and she used to sell her clothes on there. So she would tell us about that. But Leslie did help us. Leslie, a resource passion. She helped us to sell our first item.
That's
so
true.
We've heard stories like, people love Poshmark because it's easy to use and they like list their items and they sell fast. That did not happen for us. We listed our items and nothing sold for over a month, like not one thing. And so we elicited Leslie's help. Hey, Leslie, why is nothing selling for us? So she went in and she gave us some tips. We immediately updated those tips. I don't remember what the tip was at this point. Do you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But with her tip, the item sold like in a couple days. So we are definitely grateful to her for that. We will never forget that. But it was a challenge for us to sell our items on Etsy Poshmark at the beginning.
Yeah.
She gave up, and then I was like, I'm not going to quit. I would sit for hours all day long, hours on the weekend, following people and sharing, and I just don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not giving up because I see other people are successful in this app.
That's so funny. I can see you doing that, and y'all have a cool, closet in Poshmark too. Y'all have some cool items in there as well. But that's so funny because I can really see you doing that. You're like, I can't wait to put this shit.
You're not gonna break me, Poshmark.
But the cool thing about Poshmark, unlike other platforms, obviously, is the community. That's the neat thing about it, because I've met so many people, is the community. It's just phenomenal. I love it. Someone says Well, ironically, I like sharing, but I am funny though, so I like sharing if people have interesting stuff. But then if they don't, then I'm like, oh, I'll do like a few items and I go to the next one. For some reason, I do like sharing. I don't know why. So basically, when I got on the app, I just did it. I liked it, but I was always like, if someone's place closet, I guess, was kind of boring. I'm like, oh, share a little bit, and then I keep on going. And then some people would have like such awesome closets. You're just like, I'll just be in there sharing, and I know, and they'll probably like, what is wrong with this person? I'm never gonna be able to share all that back, which I never want them to share all that back. It's just they have cool stuff, and I'm looking. Oh, Janice, and so are you. So are you, Miss Jan. I love Janice.
Aww.
She's like the sweetest person. She's one of the I met her at one of the Posh Fests. I want to say probably 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. She's so sweet though. But anyway, so yeah, I do love that. And like I said, I love the part about the community. Did y'all get involved with the IPO when it dropped? If y'all don't mind me asking.
We're embarrassed to say that we missed the email. Otherwise, we totally would have been all over it. So how about you?
Hey, don't be embarrassed because I can believe it because you get so many emails from them that you're just like, okay, what? And the only reason I think that I caught it was because I knew they had said something about it. I don't know. I really don't even know how I caught it, to be truthful with you, but I did. So I got in.
Yes.
But what's so funny is after I did that whole process, but I already had a Fidelity account, so it was really no big deal. So it was easy for me to get involved. But I forgot that there was a couple of apps that you could have got in early without even having. And I literally forgot about them until the day because like my husband was like, well, you know that you can get in early with. I said, why didn't you tell me that earlier? Because I could have shared that with some people that missed the I said, but you know what? I'm glad to know that now. I totally forgot because like I'll get in certain brokerage accounts just for the free. They'll give freebies like free stocks, whatever, and then I don't do anything with them. I just let them sit. And one of them was Webull. I got like 2 stocks from them. It was like $5. So I've got like $75 in there because one of the stocks went up.
Nice.
And I did nothing with that account, but that is an account that you can actually get in on IPOs early.
Wow.
After the fact, I said I could have helped so many friends that missed the email or that did not qualify because not everybody qualified either. So to get in on a direct share program. So anyway, interesting stuff.
Good to know. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's good to know. I was like, thanks, son. You should tell me that earlier. But yeah, it does definitely. So let's see. I'm gonna go over some random stuff here. So tell me, Marina, about your time in Paris.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that was like the best part of my life. Being in Paris. Not even joking. Yeah, so I went there when I was 19 to study. I studied abroad there. And I was one of the majors that I majored in school. I majored in 2 things. One was economics and one was in French literature. And economics was like the serious major, and then French literature was like for fun, right? Because I've always been interested in the culture. I don't know why, or the languages and that culture. So in high school, I got into learning French. And then when I was in college, I didn't know what to study. And I said, Mom, what should I study in college? She said, you should study economics because, in our family, they had an investment firm. And my mom said, I'm going to, go in and help the family business and work in the investment firm. So that's how I chose economics. But anyway, back to French literature. I had the opportunity to go to France. And I studied economics in French. Everything was in French when I was in Paris, and I studied French literature, right? But when I was there, life was so different than life in the US. So life in Paris was like very, very social. Like everything is about socialization and about spending time with friends. It's so crazy how it's so different because I feel like the mentality in the US is like work, work, work. Everything's about work. Their work started at 9 a.m. and people took their time. and dinner was like at 8 p.m. So you're eating dinner at 8. You don't go to bed until like probably at least midnight, like at the earliest, I was the weird foreign exchange student. I was in bed at 8 p.m. because like, and I was eating dinner like by myself at 5 because that's like what I'm used to doing. But it really opened my eyes to being more social and like enjoying life. Like before I went to France, I hated food. I had like issues with food. I was like eating disorders. Like I was like anorexic and bulimic, and I was skinny, and I hated food. I didn't like food. After I left France, I learned to enjoy eating food. I know it sounds crazy, but I appreciated food. So my culture, I'm Mexican, right? I was born in Mexico and I immigrated to the US. So in my culture, my family grew up eating Mexican food. I didn't like it. I didn't like tortillas. I didn't like beans. I didn't like any of that. And after coming back from Paris, when I was in Paris, it was so odd. I was like, oh my gosh, I need Mexican food. Like I want to eat a taco, but it didn't exist over there. So like, I was like going to the grocery store and looking in the international section for like a tortilla, and like you're supposed to get a taco with a corn tortilla, right? But I found a flour one, and I was like, hey guys, to my friends there, I'm going to make everyone tacos, like to the best of my ability. And when I came back, my family threw like a big welcome back party, and it was like all the Mexican food because they said, it was like my request, like, hey, you guys are going to have a party for me. And they're asking, what kind of food do you want? I was like, can you please make it Mexican? Like, it was just so weird how I had to go to France to start appreciating food, and then in turn my culture and the food in my culture. So
that is so hilarious on so many levels. But actually, I relate to, not me personally, but I relate to not liking food at all. I have a couple friends like that. They just don't like food, but they'll eat it because they know they have to, but they just really don't like it. But growing up as a kid, my mom used to make me eat what they call soul food, and I hated it.
Oh.
And then she literally made me eat it. Like I had to stay at the table. I'd be like at the table for hours.
Oh.
I'm not even going to tell you how that story. It was really horrible though. But anyway, what I was going to say is I love any type of Hispanic food. I was going to say Mexican, but it's just not Mexican. It's like it can be Cuban, Puerto Rican, whatever.
Yeah,
so I was adopted. So I always thought, like, before I found out more information about my biological parents, I always like, I must be Spanish or something. I said, gotta be. I said, because I love their music. Every time the music come on, I'm like all into it. And then I like love the food, right? And I was so wrong. At least I think I am anyway, because I don't have like the full of what my father was. I was just told that he was like African American, but my mom, she's from Austria, so I'm pretty sure. No, she's not Hispanic, but anyway. But yeah,
it's so funny you said that, Terry, because that's how I felt when I was in France. I was like, this is my blood. And I didn't know, but coming back, after I came back, I learned that in my family blood, actually, I do have French in my blood on my grandmother's side, my mom's mom. So, I mean, you could very well have some Spanish blood and not know it. I feel like it does it does call you, like.
It may be on my father's side because they may not. It just like assume that he was just black, possibly. I mean, like I said, on my biological mom's side, it's probably more than likely a no. But I just knew it. I was like, I was gonna find out. I said, yep, I'm gonna find this out. And I said, this is gonna solve the mystery, but it did not. But when I go to New York and anytime I go to any of the cities like Chicago, New York, LA, they always assume I'm Puerto Rican. And so I always have people come up to me and speak Spanish, and I do understand it. Wow. I don't really speak it as well as I should, and I need to study up on it more. So, but I always get that because, I look Puerto Rican to people. So, yeah. But anyway, excuse me. And I agree with you, Quimby. That's not something that they cover much in school, and that's something they really should be covering in school because that's how people, they need to know that information, and they're not getting it in school, which is unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, definitely. And going back to what you were saying about Paris, real quick, the thing that I really like about Paris is, like you were saying, how they do not really go out to eat much. It's most of the time they're cooking from home. Is that not correct?
That's absolutely correct. 100%.
Yeah, and I love that, because that's something, people in the United States we're very much consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's so key. So that's one thing I remembered. And I don't know if this is true. You can tell me if this is true or not, but do they have like 2-hour lunches, or is that incorrect?
That's an understatement, Terry. Can I tell you a little story on the lunches?
Yeah.
So, a lot of really cool, neat experiences and culture shock, really, when I was there. But I was invited to a lunch on a weekend, like a Sunday lunch. And it was about a 6-hour ordeal. I was, yes, and I'm not joking. And it's funny because, like, here we're hungry and we get like 30-minute lunches, and sometimes it's like 20 minutes, and you just like try to shove as much food as you can in so you continue working. And it's like, we focus on eating, I don't know, I think quickly in our culture, but over there we were having lunch and we start with the glass of wine. And I'm hungry. Like, I want to eat food, but nope, it's like a glass of wine. And then little by little, they're bringing out like little things to like snack on. So it's like maybe some snails or whatever, you're just snacking. And again, you're socializing. It's all about socializing, and you're laughing and you're telling stories, and then come out, you wait a little bit, and then, okay, the meat is ready. So you have like a couple slices of meat. And it's just so different, because we're here. I want my big plate of food, and I just like want to like shove it in my face, and I want to feel like happy. Like, I just want to like feel full and happy. But I was like going crazy over there, being served like, so like every hour I'd get like a little bit of food, and then like the next one's like the salad, and then the next hour I get like some cheese, and then like the next hour maybe some yogurt, and I'm just like, it was tough to get used to, but it is really beautiful, that the focus is on spending time with each other. And I feel like if we do that here, you have to develop like a new level of patience for that. But I do appreciate the culture and so much focus on just spending time with people and appreciating each other's company. It's so beautiful.
I totally agree. And I think it's something we should implement, because the reality is the French are actually very healthy people. They're very healthy. They're not at all overweight. And this is really key, because one of the things is when you're rushing to eat your food, it makes you kind of want more, because you're kind of thinking you're not full, because the body is real tricky like that. So like if you're eating fast, which, we have these short lunches, some people have 30-minute lunches, which to me is absolutely ridiculous. But then, we have an hour lunch, and sometimes it's still the same thing, because if you have to travel, if you weren't prepared to bring your lunch, which I highly recommend if you're out working, that you should just, bring your lunch, obviously. But let's just say you do travel to get your lunch, and then you like scarfing and throwing it in your mouth really quickly. And that makes you more hungry, because you think you're not full. So they have a process where, they're eating a little bit at a time, several, like you said, different mini meals, so to speak. It's just much healthier that way. That they are definitely, much more healthier. And yes, they do drink wine, but none of this really impacts their health. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It actually enhances it, probably more so than anything else.
And I remember going there 2 years ago, when people are having their meal, they don't look at their phones at all. Literally,
oh my gosh,
zero phone. Whereas here, I think everyone is basically like scrolling, even though they're eating, So,
and so that's another way that right there, it causes another issue too. Yeah, and that's so good, Quimby, that you're doing that. You're really enhancing your family's life. That's awesome. I totally agree. But yeah, it's true that they don't. And I remember that book. It's fun. I didn't remember it until you mentioned it. But thanks for bringing that up. Is that Wanderlust? That's a pretty cool name. But yeah, they don't. So it makes so much sense. It's they have like Marina was talking about. They do have a different relationship with food, and we need to change our relationship with food, and that'll be how we really change, and not be the country that's so overweight. Because sadly we are. But anyway, Michelle, so you speak 5 languages. My goodness. Among all the awesome other things that you know how to do. So anyway, what are your 5 languages that you speak?
Well, actually, I speak 3 dialects of Chinese. So there's Mandarin, which is
Right.
pretty much the universal Chinese language. There's
Right.
Cantonese. It's a language in Hong Kong and Canton. And then I speak a dialect called Fukien, which is like my mother. It's like a province dialect.
Okay.
I speak Filipino because I did live in the Philippines, and my mom was actually born in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
And I speak a little bit of Japanese and English.
And you speak English very well. So I can only imagine that the other languages you do the same. But the Philippines is so interesting because I almost went there one time. I did for like a job. I almost went there one time, a call center, as a matter of fact. It's so funny. I didn't get a chance to go, but it was so close. I would have loved to have gone.
Beautiful.
And I think obviously that might be directed to you, Marina, possibly.
Yeah,
I love that
And
show.
I haven't seen that, so I'm gonna have to check that show out. I definitely am. And yes, Lisette, I totally agree. Totally agree. It's powerful. Power couple, 2 phenomenal women. Just really phenomenal. But yeah, so that's cool in itself. So you also met David Beckham. So tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. So that happened many, many years ago. I wish I have a picture to show you. So it was a work lunch. It was my birthday, and my boss was like, "Well, where do you want to go?" And I said, "I want Cuban food, right?" And it's a really hole in the wall place. Marina has been there. It's a hole in the wall place. It's not fancy at all. So, we went to the restaurant, and my coworker my coworker started staring at this guy. He had like a bunch of tattoos on his arms, and he was by himself. So my coworker was like, "I think that's David Beckham."
Oh my
God. And then we all started staring at him. And what happened was one of my colleagues went up to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Beckham, it's my friend's birthday. Would you mind taking a photo with her? Blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Sure." So we interrupted his meal. And, he just like said hi to everyone, and he took a photo with us. So I could totally share it with you.
That is so nice. And obviously the food must be good, because some of those places that like look like a hole in the wall have like some of the best food. And I guess he knew that too.
Yeah, and there was no paparazzis. Nobody knew he was there. It was an awesome moment.
Oh my goodness. I love that. He seems like a cool person too. So that's funny. I can kind of see that for some reason. He's like, "I'm just eating the best food, possible." Okay, yeah, I'll take a picture with these ladies, and then I'm gonna go back to eating.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
Very humble guy, and
he looks like that type. He really does for some reason. I look at him, he looks like that. What was I going to tell you? So, and you lived in 3 countries. So what were the 3 countries you lived in? I mean, obviously you told us Philippines, and of course you lived in the United States. What was the other country?
Philippines, Hong Kong. I was born in Hong Kong, born and raised, moved to the Philippines, and then I moved here to go to school, to go to college.
So basically you were in Hong Kong before, I think they did a change with the government. I forgot exactly what they did. I know there's a change with the government. You left before then, correct?
You hit the nail on the head. I left that same year. As soon as China took over Hong Kong, we left and we moved to the Philippines, because there were a lot of rumors. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, there's going to be chaos," and so we moved. So it was 1990.
I'm so glad y'all did. I'm so glad y'all did. Yeah, it was a mess when all of that came. It still is a mess, actually, unfortunately.
It's worse.
So, yeah, and I think they were supposed to allow people that had passports in Hong Kong were supposed to be allowed to go to the UK if they wanted to. And I think they're trying to shut that down, which is just really horrible. That is a horrible situation there. So, what was I getting ready to say? So, yeah, and I think they were supposed to allow people that had passports in Hong Kong were supposed to be allowed to go to the UK if they wanted to. And I think they're trying to shut that down, which is just really horrible. That is a horrible situation there. So, you said you had big feet. So I was like, and I'm not laughing at you because obviously I do too. You know, I'm a 10 and a half to 11, but it's just, I'm not used to people saying that. So tell me, I feel like there's a story behind this for some reason. They're probably really not even big feet. They're probably like a size 8 or something, but go ahead. Tell us the story real quick.
So I don't have, like you said, I'm not 10 or 11. I'm an 8.5, but I think, Marina, why don't you tell that story? She has a nickname for my feet.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to say that. No.
Go ahead,
oh gosh. Okay, fine. I call her feet clonkers. Sorry. I'm only saying it because she wanted me to say it. Her feet are not really that big. We have almost the same size feet actually, but you talk about your feet.
I think it's how I walk. It's how I walk in the house. I think when I walk, like the house would vibrate.
You're heavy footed.
Yeah.
What's the term called heavy? Well, I don't know if that's really that's probably a ridiculous term I'm saying, but like my parents, because they're really country, they would call it heavy footed or whatever. That really makes any sense.
That's well, now we have a name for it. That's exactly what's going on. So every time I walk, like the house would vibrate.
Oh my God, I love it. Because I can tell you're probably about that big, so that's really hilarious to me, actually.
She would say, watch your clunkers, because she doesn't want me to step on the dogs.
Because if I have to guess, Michelle, what are you, 5'3", 5'4", or am I totally off?
Huh? Oh my God, you got it, 5'4".
Okay. So but actually, ironically, 8.5 is the average size for a woman. And that's good to know because when I tried to source, I always try to get that size. I mean, I do. I always try to get that size. I'm like, thank you. I love this lady. She is so sweet. Everybody that's come out, all my friends, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are just so phenomenal. But yeah, I always try to get that size. It's 8.5, between 8.5 to 9. You know, usually you won't have a problem selling those shoes. But if you get my size 11, which I do sell them, they will sit for a while. I'm just saying. Because, 5'10" is the average height for a man, and I'm actually 5'10". So I think the average height for a woman is, I want to say 5'7". No, that's not correct. I think it is actually 5'5". 5'5", 5'6", I think is the average height for a woman. But anyway, just a little tidbit I thought I would share with y'all. If y'all outsourcing, do not pick up size 11s unless you don't mind them sitting for a while. Because they will sit for a while. But anyway, so I said I would have to ask that question because I said I bet you she does not really have big feet. So I'll go there with that. But ladies, I can't stress enough because time is money, and these women, they're about their coins, which that's why I love them. So I appreciate y'all coming out. Y'all remember, follow these ladies. You definitely want to follow them. Okay. So I've got their name. It's been on a banner for a while. So make sure you're following them. But yeah, I'm 5'10". Yeah, I would. Thank you, Janice. See, I got such sweet people up here. Thank you, Janice. I would look really strange with a size 5 shoe. I agree with that one. But so make sure you follow them there. Make sure you subscribe to their YouTube. I think they have YouTubes every Tuesday and Thursday. Is that correct, ladies?
Mm-hmm. Yes, every Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if you miss it because you're watching another YouTube or you're doing something else, you could catch us on the replay on, again, youtube.com/Flippingals1G or on our podcast, the Flippingals podcast, which is on Spotify podcasts and Apple podcasts.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It sure is. So definitely catch them. And remember what I told you about Etsy. You don't want to miss out on that pie. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful night. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Lisette. Yes, please, smash that thumbs up, everyone. I appreciate y'all. Everyone have a very blessed night. Bye.
Thanks for having us, Terry.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You are awesome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.